Hello and welcome back to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. I'm Tawny Ray.
And I'm Felicia Connor.
And tonight we're going to be talking about the movie It from 2017. And I'm so fucking excited. I've been waiting. This is another one of those that I've been waiting since we started the podcast to talk about. And here we are, finally doing it. And Felicia finally watching it.
I am so happy. You know, everyone knows I love Stephen King.
Yep.
And I went to go get a shirt because I see your shirt.
Oh,
to
yes.
Put it on. Losers Club. I love it. I don't have one Stephen King shirt.
You don't? Did you think you did?
I did because I ordered a Losers Club shirt. And now when I remember back, it was like a weird color. Didn't look the same.
Oh,
and
okay.
It fit weird. So I returned it. And I totally meant to buy another shirt. I had no shirts. So I'm going to stock up. After the episode,
you got to get
Stephen
one.
King shirts, man.
Just at least one.
At least one. Yeah. But I am very, very excited for this. When I was sitting down to watch the movie, I was all giddy.
Oh, good. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm excited too. I was giddy watching it again. So I'm fucking stoked. But anyway, what are you drinking?
So, as I promised last week, I'm drinking water. So I am sticking to water until our next episode. In our next episode, I don't know. I might get crazy. I got to think about what fancy drink I want to drink.
Okay.
What about you?
I have got also an Olipop, which I had last week, but I'm trying the lemon ginger. Ginger lemon. It is pretty good. It's probably my least favorite of all the ones that I've tried so far, but it's not bad. I like it.
On the Paige, who's your buddy, and is going to come on next time when we do Misery, which is one I've been waiting for all fucking lifetime since we've started this podcast.
Yeah.
She drinks. So we probably will all have some cocktails, yeah?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool.
It'll be a good time. I'm very excited.
That'll be a fun episode.
Already started reading that book?
No, I have it. I was going to start it on August 1st.
Okay.
Because I was reading 6 other books.
Okay.
I have Mr. Mercedes on Kindle. I have Sweetness, The Sweetness of Water, which is an excellent book that I just happened to pick up at Barnes & Noble because I went there with my daughter and saw it and started reading that. I usually I usually read 2 physical books, a Kindle book, and listen to an audio book. So
all at the same time.
All at the same time. But even if those books aren't done, I'm closing them all and only reading Misery for the month of August. Have that done for our thing.
Very excited for that too.
I am so excited because I remember reading that book and having this energy like, oh my God, go, even though it was a book. You know, it wasn't a movie I'm watching. And anyways, that's not what we're doing. We're doing It. And that was another book that I did not reread because it was gigantic. But I have the fondest memories of reading It as a teenager and absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Do you remember a lot about the book?
No.
Okay. Did you watch the miniseries?
No.
You didn't watch the miniseries, the 1991?
Mm-mm. I watched the movie, It.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. It is a miniseries. It's like, it never got a theatrical release. It's like a made-for-TV movie.
Shut up.
Yeah. So there's only 2, but I think it's technically classified as a miniseries.
Oh, yes. Then yes, I have seen that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And back then, I liked it. You know, I don't know what I would think of it now, but back then, I liked it. But of course, like with most things, I preferred the book. But
okay.
Yeah.
I have some trivia bits too about like books related stuff. And you may, as we're talking through stuff, you may remember stuff. So I'd love to hear from your perspective, like what you remember, because I've never read it and I don't know anything aside from what I've read.
Grabbed the book to reread the end.
Okay.
After watching the movie, but I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I watched the movie yesterday.
Okay. Me too. Yeah, did I? I think I did. Yep. Yesterday. Last minute week this week.
Yeah.
Okay, before we continue on with just like whatever other shooting the shit, do you want to do our shout out?
I hella do. So we have a new Patreon. Super excited about that. And his name is Matt Flower. And we say thank you for all of the kind things you said about the show. We are very happy and grateful and thankful and grateful and blessed that you like it so much. And so thank you so much for your patronage.
Patronage. I like that.
Patronage. He's also been so fun to chat with in our Discord.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Such a blast. So thank you.
Also loves The Strangers. So great company with Felicia and I, but mostly Felicia.
Mostly me. Yeah. We're having some conversation in there about The Strangers and the second Strangers. So
yeah. So yeah, thank you for being part of our community.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop. See, we need an applause machine.
Something. Some kind of, we'll work on it.
You know, like Howard Stern has that person that just does a bunch of different sounds. They're like gross sounds like farts and stuff, but like maybe we could have someone do sounds.
Okay. I can tell you're real committed to this sound thing.
It comes up every episode.
Anyway.
But I think Seth commented that he wants the applause on one of our posts. Because remember we were talking about the applause? He was like, I want the applause.
Well, what Seth wants, Seth gets. So
we'll do it for you, Seth. I'll order a machine immediately after this episode.
Okay. What have you been up to? Watching? Anything?
So I only watched one thing this week, and it was I've been listening to a lot of stuff, mostly like, my Russell Brand stuff and stuff like that. But I did watch a Netflix true crime thing called Elise Matsunaga, Once Upon a Crime. And it was about a woman who killed her husband, chopped him up into a bunch of little pieces and spread him around.
Ew, don't like that. Ugh.
I don't know why I'm laughing. Well, I'm laughing because of Tawny's reaction, but like her normal reaction to when somebody says that. But the main thing of it is this is her first time talking, I think, about it. And so they're interviewing her and what her side of the story. So
okay.
That made me laugh because her side of the story of chopping him up into a bunch of pieces and spreading him around. But, there's two sides to every story. And you know what? I really do think can I tell you this one thing?
Tell me all the things.
I'll tell you all the things. Realize, wow, I really need to cut down on my true crime because so when I drive my daughter to school, there's, I don't know, it's just like a big water tank for a community. I don't know. It's like gated off, this big water tank. I don't know. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about there.
Yeah.
They provide water to the communities, I guess. But anyways, when I drive her to school, it's always shut and locked. And there's just the tank in there. So earlier this week, I was driving her to school. And as I drove by, the doors were open. And my first thought was, I wonder if someone's trying to hide a body in there.
Oh my God.
Why not? The people are there to work on the water tank, any other thing. And then later that day, there was a piece of rolled up carpet that was in the road. And I was with Steve, my husband, Steve, and we drove by. I'm like, oh my God, is that an arm? And he's like, I know that's just a piece of carpet, honey.
I have to admit that when I see like bundles of clothing or material on the side of the street, my first thought is that a body part? Okay, so it's not just me. A small baby or something?
Oh yeah, I think a small baby one too, yeah.
Terrifying. Why?
Okay.
So no, same kind of brain. Although hiding a body in a water tank would be really inconvenient, so.
Well, that guy just did that. I think that's why I thought of it. Remember the guy?
It was an oil tank. It was an oil tank out in the middle of nowhere where he worked.
Oh, yeah, but it was a tank. And so I thought maybe the guy, that works at the water tank place.
Yeah, but you'd have to like drag it up some stairs probably, huh? Get to the
what
top
about that
of this
Elisa
thing?
Lamb situation?
Yeah, that one's set that one aside.
Just saying.
Too crazy.
I'm just saying. Crazier things have happened.
That's
It'd be
true.
a really weird place because it's small. It's right there.
It sounds like there's a lot of people driving by,
It's literally going to be discovered immediately. This was not what was happening at this water tank, I'm sure.
We're convinced now.
It was the water tank for my community. So if it was, we're screwed.
Ugh.
But anyway.
Hmm.
Oh, and the Great. I'm still cranking through that. I love that. God, those characters are great, but we've already talked about it. Tawny, what have you been watching or listening to?
Same shit for me, just Outlander. And that's it. And let me just go ahead and admit this to everybody else because I wasn't going to. But now that I realize that everybody is doing this for some reason, I feel less bad about it. But because Netflix put all of the the name just totally escaped my brain, dude. I cannot recall what this is. Twilight. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
The Twilight movies are all on Netflix now. And I am watching them. I'm to the last one, the 5th one. And you know what? Like, they're not good, but I'm still watching them. And then we all met again this Monday at work. And like, everybody had seen these movies, and all my other coworkers were watching it over the weekend too. So I don't know what that phenomenon is. It's like we've all seen it, and now we're gonna watch it again, even though they're like not good.
I liked them all, but see, I like them all like I like any kind of young adult romantic sort of thing. My daughters watch all of these kinds of things, like The Kissing Booth and like other little things like that, and I see it as like young adult fiction. I don't know if that's what it was meant for. And I love it. I love romanticized young adult
over
fiction.
the top, dramatic. Yeah.
I love it.
I can't help but like it too. Although I couldn't watch it with Jade watching it also. Was too embarrassed for that. I said, listen, I can't watch this while you're sitting here. I don't know why. I'm usually not an embarrassed or shamed person, but I couldn't do it. But I just want to say that I do make fun of Kristen Stewart. I made fun of Kristen Stewart actually in our last episode.
Yeah.
But she's not as bad actually as I think she gets a rap for, especially in these movies and especially as they go on. Like, I think she gets like a little better as the movies go on. And I feel like now it's become such a meme. Like, people are over the top making fun of Kristen Stewart. And like, so in my memory, she was way fucking worse. So rewatching it again and having different expectations, I was like, okay, it's not actually that bad. Like, they're not great. It's not great. It's not great acting, obviously. And there are definitely moments where you're like, okay, fucking what's happening here? But anyway, that's just my small defense of Kristen Stewart.
I have to agree with you that when I saw the Twilight series, I didn't think anything either way about her acting. It was when I saw the next thing, which I think was the Snow White thing, the Huntsman or whatever, where she was Snow White.
I didn't see that.
And she was the same.
Yeah.
That's when I went, does she do anything different? Because at least in Twilight, if that's who you are, kind of like this brooding character, that's who you are as a person, she's going to be that way the whole, throughout. That makes sense. But then when that movie came up and she was still kind of brooding, I can't really smile or enjoy myself. And then I saw something else. I'm like, she really doesn't fucking do anything else but this.
This is her shtick.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. Anyway.
Even in her pictures, she looks painful when she's smiling, like,
yeah,
I like this.
Yeah, uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
But that's it for me.
Let's get into it.
Okay, here we go. All right, so this movie was directed by Andy Muschietti. And we have a lot of cast. So we have Jaden Lieberher as Bill Denborough. Denborough? Yes, there we go. Jackson Robert Scott as Georgie Denborough. By the way, cutest fucking child.
Oh my God, he's so cute.
On the face of the planet. Just adorable. I just was like, oh, like I don't usually feel that way about kids, but I was like, he's so cute. I just want to squeeze him.
There were 3 of these boys where I was like, oh my God, he's so cute. My oldest daughter watched this with me, actually.
Oh, okay.
And she's saying, we'd be like, oh my God. He's so cute. I'll tell you when you get to him.
Okay.
But that little boy was one of them for sure. Snuggle bug.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way about any of the other kids, probably just because they're older.
Oh, God.
But
No,
let me know.
Yeah, I'm going to let you know.
Okay. Bill Skarsgård played It, or / Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Jeremy Ray Taylor played Ben Hanscom. Okay, he was pretty cute.
He was so fucking cute.
Yeah.
How he was just so sweet and then also confident in himself and not and like romantic. I thought he was a cutie.
He was very clever too.
Oh, yeah.
I love all of these kids.
Yeah, these kids are fucking great.
They are. They're so lovable. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Sophia Lillis played Beverly Marsh. Finn Wolfhard played Richie Tozier, I think. Why can't I don't know why I'm getting into this now and I can't say these names. Wyatt Olaf is Stanley Uris, I think is how you say it. They just say each other's first names, so that's why I'm tripping up on these last names. Chosen Jacobs played Mike Hanlon. Jack Dylan Grazer played Eddie Kasprak.
Okay,
and
he was the third one.
Oh, okay.
Fucking love that little guy. Everything he said, I fucking loved him.
I mean, I love him too. I just don't have that same like you're so cute. Like you're so I don't know. Maybe it's just that he seems a little older to me.
Because I'm a mom.
Maybe. It's just I think it's like an age thing. Like
maybe I'm a more loving human being.
Oh,
because I'm a mother.
Maybe.
Just kidding.
Highly possible. But Georgie is like he's like little, like he's like a little kid, and it's like I don't know. It's a different vibe.
Maybe because these boys are closer to age in you than they are me. So I see them as cute.
Okay. Maybe. And then Nicholas Hamilton played Henry Bowers. There were a handful of other people, but I just kind of left it at that for cast. Okay. IMDb gave this a 7.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 86%, and 85% of Google users liked this movie. The budget was $35 million. And the box office was $701 million.
Wow. That's great.
Yes.
I would have loved to see this in the movie theater. I wish I had.
Oh my God. I went and saw it twice in the theater because it was so fucking good. And so just a note on that while we're talking about it. It grossed $123 million over its North American opening weekend, easily a record for a horror film and more than double that of the previous record holder, Paranormal Activity 3 from 2011, and also the second largest R-rated opening ever behind only Deadpool.
Wow. Wow.
And it is the highest grossing Stephen King adaptation film to date. All right, now 2 minutes with Tawny. Give you a little quick background on the plot, but you should probably know what it is by now. I mean, who listening to this podcast doesn't know what happens in it? If you do, I apologize. I take it back. Okay. Okay. So Georgie takes a paper boat out in a rainstorm while his brother Bill stays home. I changed that. I must have taken out a line or something.
I was like, what does Bill do?
I put that he stayed home sick, but then I couldn't remember if he actually stayed home sick or if he just stayed home. Do you remember?
Yeah, he stayed home sick.
Okay.
He said he couldn't go outside because he was sick and he was throwing up, and his little brother was like, that's gross.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so that is what it was. I took it out because I was second guessing myself. Okay, so Georgie takes a paper boat out in a rainstorm while his brother Bill stays at home because he's sick. When the boat gets swept into a drain where I fucked this all up. I just took a bunch of words out. I don't know. Then the boat gets swept into a drain where Pennywise the clown is waiting. He lures Georgie in with the boat, brutally bites off his arm, and pulls him into the sewer. The next year, we see Bill and his friends, Eddie, Richie, and Stanley, throwing away their books for the summer and making plans. Everyone wants to have fun except for Bill, who's determined to find Georgie, who is still missing. This group calls themselves the Losers Club, and they pick up a few more members, Mike, Beverly, and Ben, all of whom are victims of terrifying bullies in this town. They each begin to see apparitions of things that they fear. Beverly sees blood erupt from her sink drain, but her dad can't see the blood. She asks the group to come over. They can see the blood too, and they help her clean it up. After this, they start talking. Everyone but Richie have had experiences with it, this entity, and Ben tells them about Derry's fucked up history of missing kids and terrible accidents like fires and explosions. They realize whatever it is, it reemerges every 27 years to feed, and each event location is connected by the sewers. So they go to the place where all the sewer tunnels converge, the Niebolt house. And in this house, there's a well in the basement. They're separated and confronted by it taking the appearance of Pennywise the clown. Beverly injures it, and the kids get away and take a little break from each other. A little friendship break. After they get in a fight. I should have mentioned that. Pennywise abducts Beverly after she kills her father in self-defense, and Bill rallies the Losers Club to find her. They head into the sewers to face off with it. They are able to hurt him enough for him to retreat, and his cycle of terror has ended for now. The club swears an oath to come back and finish the job if it reemerges in 27 years. The end.
Good job.
Felicia, what did you think about this movie?
I really liked this movie. I liked it a lot. I thoroughly enjoyed it. My oldest, like I said, watched it with me, and she was scared, and we also had a good time. I really liked this movie. The Pennywise was scary. I fucking loved how he did that character, the voice and the movements. And I felt like the whole movie had what we were just talking about, and we even posted an audio clip about it, that element in the movie where you're seeing it and you know what you're looking at, but there's something off about it that makes it very creepy and bizarre, even when Pennywise is just talking, just like his face, his eyes, but it's so slight. I mean, obviously not when he opens his mouth and he has those giant teeth, but it's so slight that you're not clear. There's something that just creeps you out. I really liked it. Okay.
All right. I assumed you were going to like it, but I see that you keep saying like and not love.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. I loved this movie.
Okay.
Okay. Cut out all the likes, Tawny. I'm sorry. I know. I don't know why I said that. I really liked this movie.
That's cool. I was just gauging where you were. That's cool.
No, I did. I loved this movie. It was a lot of fun. I want to watch it again. And we'll get into it. Like, there was just a lot I really loved about it. I think, you know what? I do know why. I said like, and it's the same thing I did with The Babadook and Parasite, where I really, really liked it, but there was an element that I wish I understood more. And that was the ending. I didn't remember the ending from the book. I mean, I read the book when I was 16 and I haven't read it since. So I felt like I wasn't clear and we'll get into that. So that whenever there's like that little bit of a hesitation, I think that's where I'm coming from. But I loved the movie, and those other two movies I just mentioned, I also loved. There was just like, I have questions.
Okay. Well, hopefully I can answer your questions. I have a lot of trivia stuff. And I've also read a lot about this. And I haven't ever read the book, obviously, but I feel like I've read a lot of people talking about the book versus the movie. So I think I have some information potentially for you. But good. I'm so glad. I fucking love this movie. Like I said, it's in my top 10. Maybe in my top 5? Nah, I don't know about that. It's definitely in my top 10. My favorite part about this movie is, I mean, I have a lot of favorite parts, but I just love the fucking feel. Like, the feel of the movie is so fucking spot on from how I think it should be. Like, I don't know because I've never read the book, but I love the, like, coming of age, like, magical kind of summer vibe, and, like, the closeness that this friend group has, and then actually facing off against something that is terrifying in a very real world, you know what I'm saying, like a real thing for them. It's not just like bullshit drama, like this thing is gonna fucking kill them and eat them. Like, they have to deal with this threat, and how they do that and go about it, I love. And I love the vibe of like, it's just these kids alone, you know, like their parents are kind of at best what's the word? At best, they're like not present. At worst, they're like abusive.
Horrific. Yeah.
And so, yeah. Anyway, and I love the Pennywise. I love Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise. I fucking hated the miniseries. I hate it. It's awful. And someday we're going to go back and watch it.
Yes, we do have to.
You're going to be like, holy shit, I don't remember it being like this. It's so fucking over the top and like, ugh, I hate it. Now, Tim Curry as Pennywise in the original movies, I think was good. I think that was a really good part of it. And there were some moments that were scary, like him coming up out of the drain like that. I remember had a real nice look to it. But I just think this shit blows it out of the water. Wonderful fucking adaptation. Wonderful acting. Anyway.
Do you have trivia? Did Stephen King like this adaptation?
Oh, yes, he did. Let me tell you about it. He said the film exceeded his expectations and that the producers had done a wonderful job. He also said, I wasn't prepared for how good it really was. So I think this is like probably one of his favorite. I think I've also read separately, like this might be one of his favorite adaptations. Maybe not. I know what his
recent favorite is.
Oh, what?
Outsider.
Oh, really?
That's really new, though. I think that book came out not last year, 2019.
And is that a show?
Yeah, and it's a show.
Okay.
He said that's one of his that's his like favorite adaptation of his
work.
Of one of his books. Yeah.
Okay.
That's very, very new.
Yeah. Aside from that, isn't it Misery? I think it is Misery might be his top favorite. Not 100% sure on that. But.
He didn't like The Shining.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We don't need to go there.
He did not. Yeah.
I hope he didn't like Dark Half because it's fucking miserable. But anyway. Awesome.
All right. Where should we start?
Well, I can say the first thing that I really loved and appreciated about this movie, and lots of movies and TV shows that I really flip out like if I keep talking about The Great, is I loved all of the children and Pennywise. I enjoyed them all. And I love that when I love all the characters, the good and the bad. You know, you love the bad characters because they're doing such a good job at being bad, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, but I loved all of these boys. I loved their dialogue, their back and forth. It was quick. It was funny. It was sweet. Just absolutely loved them. And can't say enough about little Eddie.
I know.
Dude, how many words he had with his hypochondria, and it was funny. It like didn't once irritate me. He was just on and on. And their interaction, especially his interaction with Richie, like how they would argue and I just fucking loved all of it. I was laughing and scared, and it was just so good. I
read that like they just were winging it some of the time, and it was great. It works so well.
It did.
I also love Eddie. I feel like he is my inner self. that I just totally identify with him on a very deep level. And I love that scene where they're on the bikes and he's like freaking out about AIDS or something. He's like, he's bleeding. He's like, what? I know somebody who got AIDS. They touched something. Let me just tell you this quick story. In elementary school, I went to school with this kid who told me that he had heard some story about people putting AIDS needles. So fucking stupid. In hindsight, I realize now, obviously this was dumb as hell, but I was like, you know, young.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, they put like needles with AIDS blood in coin change things. So like when you go to pull out your coins from the phone, payphones, like I had to be worried about payphones. Little me didn't know that would not even be a situation for me later. But in like movie theater seats and stuff. So I was like terrified that I would go out into the world and just be encountering these fucking AIDS needles. Like what? That makes no sense. It's like a total fucking wives' tale of a thing. Ugh. Anyway.
I heard the same things. I heard stuff like that too, that people were doing that. And I remember being scared of it too.
Yeah.
You're a kid and you just don't, you don't know any better.
Yeah. You're just like, so that's scary.
Totally like this kid. Yeah, he's like, he's covered in blood. And then he starts going into this whole thing about AIDS. And so funny.
I know. That was 100%. I mean, that is my inner monologue constantly. He's like, you don't want to get in the gray water. Like, you're going to get, but I don't remember what he said. Some kind of sickness from that.
He just was talking so fast and it was so funny. It was so on point. And he was so panicked about everything. I loved him. I thought he did an excellent job. And he was the one character I did not want to die. When we thought he was about to die, but Pennywise is about to kill him, me and my daughter were like, no, don't take our boy. No, not him. We loved that guy. I did think, I was wondering why his mother was almost like a caricature. Like, first of all, I mean, I don't know if she is a full-figured woman. Maybe she is. But she didn't seem like, it seemed like she was stuffed with pillows. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed like she seemed like a caricature if somebody was to dress up like that. And I can't even really explain it. Obviously, you could tell I'm having trouble, but she almost seemed comedic when she was very frightening. She was making her son, like the, it just went out of my head, but there was a documentary or a TV, a movie about that. Proxy. Yeah. And I'm forgetting, but the woman who did that to her daughter. So it's a very terrifying thing, but she was almost comedic.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like a stereotype caricature of an overweight woman who barely leaves the house, when they could have really just made it more serious. And because that's a scary thing, because then Bev's dad was terrifying.
Yeah.
And he was not a caricature. Sorry, whatever. I can't talk.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It does make me wonder if they...
was it supposed to be comedic? Because it seemed like it was at first.
I don't think so. I mean, I guess I could see maybe if they were trying to make her kind of a caricature, because like I said, the parents really aren't like present in here, and we're kind of getting this story through the eyes of the kids. And so maybe that has something to do with it, but I didn't come across anything in research. That's just kind of
it didn't ruin the movie for me. I just thought like it was that moment where I was like, oh, this is supposed to be funny.
Yeah, I don't think she is supposed to be funny necessarily.
Okay.
Like, at least that's my read on the movie. But yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say this about Eddie just while we're talking about him. So he was one of the first kids out of all the kids to work with Bill Skarsgård, and they kept him like out of shooting for the first half of shooting. Like they did a lot of shots first and then brought him in way later. Anyway, during their scene, Grazer would cry and gag while Skarsgård was right in his face, yelling and drooling. So he was genuinely concerned for Grazer, and after the scene ended, asked him if he was okay. Grazer looked right at him and said, "Love what you're doing with the character." Skarsgård was left confused and impressed at Grazer's attitude, calling the child actors little professionals.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. And just to go back to what you're talking about, like with the funny, one of my favorite things about this movie is just that it is fun. It is a fun watch. It's like just from fun. Beginning to end, paced beautifully. I love that about it. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, not at all. I love that about it too. Another thing, Ben. Okay, they don't show his parents at all. He seems like a pretty well-adjusted, happy kid, has a nice home. He is like freaking almost, he looks like he came out of a what am I trying to? Felicia, don't start this episode.
We're doing it again.
No,
we're doing it again.
We're not. It's like he's come out with like back in the 1800s war with fucking swords and shit. His stomach is gashed open. He's bloody.
Oh, yeah.
His face is all fucked up. And he's like, just, I don't know, goes home and he has a little Band-Aid the next day. What are the parents be like, what the fuck is happening to you out there? I couldn't imagine if any of my kids came home with their stomach gashed open like someone swung a sword. Or like when that bully was
carved his name.
How about that shit?
Tried to.
They're the most extreme fucking crazy bullies ever. Like, I can't believe any parents let their children even leave their houses in that town because of those fucking bullies. They're horrible.
There's kind of this I don't know if it's true in the book, if it's written somewhere, or if it's just like a vibe that you get, but I've read that the town is kind of, as a whole, is affected by its presence, and it affects the adults. So it's kind of like this perverse place that like the adults are all fucked up too. And you kind of, I mean, I feel like you see that a little bit with the car that drives by, that when he's carving the H into his stomach, and they don't do anything about it. So you get this vibe that like even the parents, all the adults are a little evil too. And like, you don't really meet a single adult who is trustworthy or has everyone's best interests at heart, you know?
Yeah, because even Billy's dad yells at him, he's dead, he's dead. I mean, you could read that as he's just grieving and he doesn't want to think about it anymore. But it was kind of jolting, you know, how he responded to him. So I didn't pick that. I did pick up there was something wrong with all the adults. And no one's parents cared at all that they were coming home looking like they were in a battlefield. But I didn't link that to it was because of its presence.
Well, and you also have, though, like, did you catch the TVs playing the like weird fucking children's show constantly about like so it's kind of this weird, it seems like there's some sort of like brainwashy thing happening, or just by the them being so close to it in the town. And I think Mike even mentioned something about, my grandfather says there's something wrong with this town, like, and there has been for a long time. So I think it's not said explicitly, but that's kind of the sense that you get, is that's why these parents fucking suck, all of them, and no one seems to care, or, you know, or they're actively also bullying and having issues with their kids, or just straight up fucking assaulting them.
Horrible.
Yeah.
You know, when the movie started, so my very first thing I have here is I loved the intro with the balloon and the rain on the, you know, when the different movie production companies and stuff are coming up. I loved that. Yeah. And then I have to say, when it said, you know, rated R and had the things and it said rape, I'm like, we can't even watch a movie with a fucking clown and there not be the rape in it. There had to be rape in everything. Yeah. Jesus. So I was happy that it wasn't actual, like, it wasn't the rape. It was just alluding to it, because I was like, seriously? Then when I realized what it was, I was like, are you kidding me? So my oldest is a protective of me. So when that one scene started to get pretty, you know, sketch with a girl and her father, I put a blanket over my head, and my daughter's like, okay, Mom, I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Let you know how it goes.
And it was fucking awesome because she busted his face open. That was baller. Yeah. I fucking loved that, dude.
I know, but you do get the sense it's pretty implied that
the stuff he says is just the stuff he says is just fucking disgusting. Yeah, it's terrible. It's very, very implied. I'm just glad it wasn't a scene of that happening. That was good.
Yeah. Ugh. I have a note here. Why are all of these, just while we're on this subject, why are all these parents so fucking sweaty? Did you pick up on that?
Yeah,
everybody's sweaty except for the kids. Why?
You're right. They are sweaty. I think there's something about, if you think about it, and it doesn't fully make sense because everybody sweats. But if you think about someone who's a creep or someone bad, they're greasy and sweaty, and there's something dirty
Yeah.
about that, even though we all sweat, right?
Disgusting. Yeah.
Yes.
It does seem like that was the intent there, right? Is again, you sort of get that it's a subtle thing, but you're like, there's something wrong with all of these adults.
Yeah. They're sweating too much.
They're gross.
Just
Seriously,
kidding.
all
They're
of them
gross.
though.
They're gross and they're dirty.
Yes. They're like greasy.
Yeah.
And ugh.
I can say about the kids though, they really hang around a long time, a lot longer than I would have. All the different encounters they see, they really just kind of hang in there, investigate a little more. I would be fucking out of there.
Yeah.
Like the first one where the hands are burning and coming out of the butcher thing. And he's like, whoa, I would be fucking booking it. Eddie was really scared of that leper and he ran. That was pretty good. But even Billy, all of them, where they would see the manifestation of it, and they would stay for a really long time. Or like the kid who was in his father's study or office, and something, she was coming out of like the darkness, that woman, and he was like, oh, and then this door creaks and he goes and looks. It didn't ruin it for me. They weren't like weird or ridiculous. I was just like, fuck. I would have been every single one of these situations. I would have been out of there. You know, at the end when they all do the cut their hands and promise to come back, I was like, my daughter goes, there's no way I would do that. And I was like, I probably would cut my hand and like do the thing because, you know, the peer pressure, I would totally do it. But then down the road, if they were like calling me today and like, hey, Felicia, remember what? No. Sorry, guys.
No way.
I can't do it. Good luck. But you cut your hand. I remember. Sorry.
Listen, now that we're adults, I can tell you this. That didn't mean shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't hold me to anything. Jade and I were just talking about this. He was like, did you ever do that when you were a kid? I was like, hell no. Are you kidding? I'm just me, the one who's afraid of putting my hands in change slots and getting fucking AIDS from some mysterious made up needle. Hell no. I was like, did you? He was like, yeah, I did a couple times. I'm like, gross. Why? I don't know why anybody.
I did it.
Anyway, did you?
I did that. Yeah. With my couple of my friends. It's like blood sisters is what it's called. Like we're blood sisters.
That's what you said. Blood brothers.
Yeah. We'd cut our fingers. But here's the thing though. We cut like our fingertips and put our fingertips.
Very tiny.
I wasn't like, and the blood's draining down my arm and smashing our hands together. That's fucking intense.
That is how it goes every single time you see this in movies. And it's not just this. It's like, you know, when somebody needs blood for a spell or something, like whatever, you know, it's always that they grab the entire blade and just whoosh, like cut the fuck out of their hand. And I'm always like, you don't need to do that.
Yeah. None of these kids were like, when he walked up with the glass or whatever, and they were just like, oh, and he did it. I'd be like, whoa.
Whoa.
It does not need to be that big.
I don't need a scar across my palm for the rest of my life. Just cut it a little bit.
Oh my God.
Oh, you know what I want to mention, because you said even just the beginning of, you know, before we even get into the movie.
Yeah.
This is probably like one of my favorite like title cards of a movie ever. I love when that fucking camera comes through the sewer and it's like spinning, and then you've got it, the title, you know, up in like 3D space, and then it comes out of the tunnel.
Yes.
I have chills talking about it right now, and it gives me chills every time I see it. It is phenomenal.
Yes, I absolutely 100% agree. When we were watching it, once it was like done, both of us went, wow, that was cool.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Wow, that was cool. I hated, but not in a bad way. Not like I hated because it was bad. The bullies. Oh God, I hated them. I was like, stop it. Leave these fucking kids alone. I couldn't wait until they died.
They are awful. They're like the best depiction of terrible bullies, all of them, because you've got the like boy group of bullies, right? And then you've got the girl bully. I forgot her name. Greta, I think maybe.
Yeah.
And she's bullying Beverly, and it's like,
In the most horrible ways. Like that whole trash can water thing. Like,
so mean.
The most violent, mean, horrible bullies. My God.
And they're such a huge threat just by themselves, the bullies. Mm-hmm. I did not know what I was getting myself into, right? So when the bullies go to like carve into his stomach, you're just like, oh my God, like this is awful. It's really, truly terrifying. And it's just a nice, I feel like, even though it sucks, obviously, for the kids, and these kids are terrible, it's like a nicely refreshing, almost bully situation, because you're like, this is fucking terrifying. I feel like, most of the time you have bullies portrayed in movies and TV, like, it's just sort of drama.
There are a lot of talk.
Right. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, oh, I'm going to say mean things to you. But it sucks, but they don't feel like an actual physical threat, like a mortal threat to you. And these bullies are fucking, they're just the worst, especially the guy group, because they're out here doing violent shit to people.
Yeah, like these kids will be serial killers.
Totally. And I think
absolutely.
Even in the book, I think it's written that they do like a ton of terrible shit. Like they're out there killing a bunch of animals, like, yeah, for sure. Fucking future, serial killers.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how they cast these bullies so fucking well, but they did a damn good job, don't they? I'm like, I don't know why I feel like I've known you my entire life, but I do. You're like the iconic bullies.
Yes.
Now when I try to conjure up a bully in my head, I imagine these kids.
Yeah, I'm just going to imagine these kids, yeah.
So speaking of the bullies, a deleted scene on the Blu-ray reveals that Henry Bowers killed the remaining members of his gang after murdering his father, explaining why they are not present when he confronts the Losers Club in the climax. But in the novel, he murders the entire gang.
Wow.
I think it's also sort of like implied that Henry is like possessed in some way, sort of.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Brainwashed, and that's why he like kills his father.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good scene. I need to finish my thoughts, because I like when you have the bad person and you feel for them. I like seeing from all different point of views. Mm-hmm. Even when it's the evil person, the bad person, whoever who's be the bad guy. And so when he was there shooting and his dad yelled at him, and he was obviously scared. And then when he was walking towards the mailbox and you saw that he had peed his pants.
I fucking missed that. I have never, in all the times that I've seen this movie, realized that.
So when he was upset about it, but then like so upset, like just sitting there, like with his friends, just brooding, humiliated, won't talk to them. I'm like, geez, he's really, because he could have just been like, after his dad walked away, he could have been like, my dad's a fucking prick, right? Whatever.
Right.
But then he's walking towards the mailbox, he had peed his pants.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Did not pick up on that. And that's interesting. And even more, I feel like backs up the fact that there's probably like a history of abuse there, right?
Yeah.
Because he is terrified and embarrassed. And that's why it makes total sense for him to then go kill his father.
Yeah. Yeah. Thought that was a powerful scene there.
Yeah.
Because I hate this person the whole time. I hate him. I hope Pennywise kills him. And then for that moment, I'm like, I feel bad for him.
Totally. Something I noticed this watch is the sound design and the music choice. Like, is just fucking really good. I don't know how you felt about it.
I loved it.
It was so spot on.
I also obviously loved the look and feel because it rained a lot and I loved the rain. Oh, yeah. God, I just loved that whole beginning. It was beautiful. I'm sorry. But yes, I did. I loved the sound and all. Sorry. No, I totally skipped over that. It was just all really well done. And the camera angles and the way that just everything about it was so fun to watch.
Yes. And when those songs come up now in the movie, because like I said, I saw it twice in theaters, And then I think I've watched it a handful of times since then, just at home. So I've watched it a lot. And every time the songs come up, I get sort of excited. Like I don't know that I've heard all of those songs before this movie. And so now they're like inextricably linked with this movie in my mind. So when they come up, I just feel like it's nice. It's a nice use of music that has even words in it sometimes. And sometimes I can be like really distracting and not fit the mood. I just felt like this is so like expertly done.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Expertly done. They did a really good job of building dread in all the, different, not only just with Pennywise, but with Bev and her father, and with just like the dread of not knowing what's coming next.
Yeah.
And waiting and anticipating that. I loved Pennywise so much. How he just moved and appeared and changed. I don't know. It was a trip to watch.
That's one of my favorite things, too, is just the way that he is. And I think that's something that you don't get in the original miniseries, is that he's just like a clown, Yeah,
100%.
And this, it's like, oh, you really get that he is some sort of creature putting on masks, kind of, like to try to be a thing, but he is not human. And it's just plain as day. So like the moments that are my favorite are obviously when he's talking to Georgie in the well or in the drain and his eye like wanders off.
Yeah. Oh God, this is my whole favorite probably part of the movie, is the whole thing with Georgie in the drain.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
I love too how it just fucking smacks you over the head right away. Like I love a good strong fucking open to a movie like this, because I didn't think, and they didn't show it in the original miniseries, him getting hurt in any way. It's just sort of like, what happens, but you don't see it. This full blood, armless child crawling through the streets, blood pouring into the drain. And it sucks because you don't want to see that kid die, obviously, but it like punches you in the face, the beginning of this movie. And I love it. It's so
this
iconic.
Is another movie that we've recently watched some things where a child dies. You don't usually see that so graphically, so in your face. And this same thing. He gets his arm bitten off and he's dragging himself in the street. And oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, so gory and extreme, and I love it. But but his performance throughout this entire section is phenomenal. And you get that he, like, it's weird because, like, in one moment he can seem pretty normal. Like, he's like, oh, well, what's your name? Like, I'm Pennywise. Pennywise, meet Georgie. Like, that all seems pretty smooth. And then he just kind of goes off a little bit. He's like, oh, what are you, like the smell of the carnival? What does it smell like? And he's like, popcorn? And you can tell that Georgie's, like, a little weirded out by this. And I like that he's not completely on board, because you're not going to just be chatting up this clown in the fucking storm drain.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's so good. So
he's brilliant. He's so good.
Let's talk about him. I have a ton about Bill Skarsgård and Pennywise in general. Oh, and then the other thing I was going to add is the other moment that's probably my favorite is when Bill goes down to the basement and he's pretending to be Georgie. Mm-hmm. And that scene is fucking terrifying because he's like using him as a puppet, kind of. I mean, obviously it's probably not his actual body or anything, but just it's so fucking creepy to have his hand sort of puppeting Georgie. Like, and then he like runs after him and smacks his like head on the stairs and slithers back into the water. Like, it's so otherworldly that it's just so unsettling. Ugh.
That's a great way to say it. It's otherworldly.
Yeah.
And unsettling. Yes.
So the teeth prosthetics that Bill Skarsgård wore made him drool profusely. Director Andy Muschietti liked this, as the drooling adds onto the ravenous nature of Pennywise. So on that same note, Bill has described Pennywise as being such an extreme character, inhumane, he added, it's beyond even a sociopath because he's not even human. He's not even a clown. I'm playing just one of the beings that it creates. It truly enjoys taking the shape of the clown Pennywise and enjoys the game in the hunt. Skarsgård elaborated on his connection to the children, saying, there's a childishness to the character because he's so closely linked to the kids. The clown is a manifestation of the children's imaginations, so there's something childlike about that.
I like that. I also like how you said that Pennywise is like one of the masks he wears. And I never thought of it that way. I just didn't, I just thought of him so much as Pennywise the clown.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is a mask that he's wearing. And you think he chose that one because kids don't typically like clowns. Everyone's scared of clowns. No, I'm just kidding.
That's true.
But yeah, the circus and like how he was talking to Georgie and balloons and this and that and thinking.
Maybe he does choose it though because children are scared of clowns. Like that is kind of the thing, right? Like he is trying to scare them. But I get what you're saying. Like it wouldn't lure them in necessarily.
Well, kids always have those clowns making balloons at their birthday parties. There's an element of being scared of them, but then liking them. I like that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess he's supposed to be, it is supposed to be like maybe a giant spider creature. And so
spider creature?
I think that's how it is in the book.
Spider legs came out. That's right. They did it in the movie just for a minute, right?
Quick second.
Yeah. In the kitchen.
It's like that in the original miniseries. Like they fight it and he sort of becomes his true self, and it's like a giant spider. And I just don't think
it's like an alien, right?
Yeah, he is supposed to be, I think, an alien, right? He's extraterrestrial in some way that crashed here or somehow found his way to Derry, Maine. And I think, the miniseries tried to, I think, stay true to the book, because I think in the book he appears as a spider. But I think in the book, one of the kids might be afraid of spiders, and that's why he appears that way. Or I don't know exactly what how that shakes out in the book necessarily, but they did try to throw that in as like a little Easter egg with the spider legs in this movie. But yeah, so who fucking knows what his like.
Yeah, so he's this thing that came down and now he's here and he hibernates. So he wakes up, he eats. So I have a question for you. The floating children, this is like a refrigerator? Or because the reason I ask is I wondered why Billy assumed that Georgie was dead and he wasn't like floating up there with all these other children that are floating. Like I would be climbing up there, yanking the children down. I think I would have assumed that maybe my brother was up there floating around because what's her name? Bev wasn't dead. She was just floating. So maybe these other children are not going to, you got to pull them down and kiss them.
Yeah.
Got to kiss all of them. But, but they might come alive. And then I wasn't sure. So the missing children, were they found? Well, I mean, they found them floating. So then were they awoken and they went back to their families and stuff like that?
I'm not 100% sure on this, so I could be just talking out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure those kids are dead. Like, I think that they were able to save Beverly because it was like so recent. And there seems to be some element about the kiss that sort of wakes her up. But I don't, they don't really get into like, oh yeah, we saved all these kids, right? Like,
yeah, because it seems like it, but no one was concerned. Like I immediately would have thought like the kids, because they said the kids are coming down. So I would have been like, maybe Georgie is there.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. Just something seriously I've never even like thought of, but I wonder if there's an explanation in the book. I don't actually know if the book has the same setup though. I would think so actually, because they probably keep the you'll float down here.
Yeah.
You'll all float.
Yeah. You'll all float. And they're floating. Have you seen the second one? We won't give it away.
I have.
Do they explain any of this?
I don't remember exactly. I don't remember anything specific to that, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
I do kind of have just a note on this. So the end of the novel leaves the fate of Pennywise ambiguous, and even the first line of the story hints that he may still be alive. However, author Stephen King has sworn to never write about Pennywise again, stating that the character is too scary even for him.
I love that.
But he has written like references to Pennywise in other books of his. Like he is supposed to live in the same universe as some of his other stories, and he makes reference to it sometimes.
And I love that when that happens. I love those references to other things in his books and movies. I love it. I
love that too. I like the lore of it, that it's kind of all like interconnected, you know?
I think that's why I admire him so much. Just as a little side note, Stephen King. Just all the, not all the books were masterpieces. I mean, he said that, some are way better than others, but they're all these stories and how he weaved them together and how he created this universe, this town and these people. I love it.
Something that I didn't quite understand is I don't know if you remember this, but there's like a writing after Pennywise takes Beverly, and it says, "You'll die if you try."
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not sure what that means, but here's a little, it's a tie into the book. So it says Pennywise never says these words in the movie, but in the book, after the losers have cleaned up the bathroom, Bev goes in with the tape measure and she hears a voice whisper, "You can't fight us. You'll die if you try. Die if you try. Die if you try." Similarly, in the miniseries version, after the initial gush of blood, Bev's father inspects the sink closely but sees nothing, after which Pennywise's voice taunts Beverly, saying, "You'll die if you try to fight us, Beverly. You'll die if you try."
Okay. So that's what it meant.
Yeah.
My daughter, when she saw that, she was like, "Oh my God, Mom, they're getting to him." And I was like, "What made you think that?" And she goes, "Because he's threatening them." So he's threatening them means that he's now a little bit scared, a little bit nervous, and he's trying to like up the ante and threaten them. So he hasn't really threatened them.
He doesn't need to.
Yeah, he just lures them in and then takes them. But now he's threatening them. And I was like, good job,
catch.
Honey.
Good catch. I didn't pick up on that. They truly are strong together, right? Like Bev points it out. We were together when we hurt that thing. And
there was one sequence that made me go, fucking come on. There was really one sequence of when Billy, it was Richie went upstairs to get Billy, Richie, and Eddie went upstairs because I think they saw the missing girl, right? And they're like, we got to stay together. We got to stay together, right? Just don't break up. And then boom, they break up. Like Eddie's standing there and his friends are gone. And then the door slams. Okay, so then all of that happens. And then freaking Richie goes into another room and the door slams. And it was just kind of like, come on, fucking come on.
Stay together.
Stay together, for Christ's sake. And then I'll tell you, when they were in the sewer and they were all about staying together, there was a pure example of it when that woman comes, bites his face, and then all the kids come and she retreats. And it is Pennywise, and he retreats. That is a show. And then Billy fucking runs off on his own. Fucking stay together. You just had the monster retreat in front of your own eyes because you were standing there as a unit.
Yeah.
And then you fucking take off. Mother.
I was also
it didn't ruin the movie for me, but I was like, fucking come on.
I know. I was like, it literally just happened. It literally just happened. You just lost Stanley and then found him, and now you're going to turn around and run off again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what else I thought was interesting? That woman, she's quite the inspiration, because remember, she was also the inspiration for Mama.
Yes.
The character Mama. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved how she came alive. And I wondered, like, if my kid came back, my little Stanley, and he had bites on the outside of his face.
Yeah, you'd be like,
what are you guys doing? You're not playing with those boys anymore. Because like, what the hell?
Yeah, Eddie's mom had it right. She's like, no, you're not. Get away, all of you. You've done enough.
Yeah. Can you imagine if your little boy Ben came home with all of those
scratches on his
day
stomach.
after day. This
I
was like
know.
a couple times. First with the bullies, and then when he got sliced open from the house, from it. I'd be like, you're not going out to play anymore. I'm sorry.
Sorry. You're staying inside forever.
Yes.
God, that was a good scene. That thing over his face. I fucking loved that.
Yeah, that was so good.
So gross.
And then even when he retreated, and then he went, and then he popped out, and you're waiting, and then he just slowly goes back.
Goes away.
Fuck, it was great.
Ugh. I feel like... Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say I loved him. He was just so bizarre. Like, even when he did that really bizarre dance that wasn't scary, he was like, remember on the little stage, and he was doing that weird little dance, and it was like comedic, but not, because it was eerie, and then he was a monster, and it was just a trip to watch him. I know I just said that, but what were you going to say?
No, that's what I was going to say, is I think I like that this movie rides the line really well of him not going too far into being funny, because I think that would kill it for me. And there are a couple moments that he's a little too, but I feel like he's creepy enough for me to buy it. Like, I still like it, and I like the performance because it doesn't get to be too funny. And so that moment that you're talking about, I remember thinking this time watching it, when he comes back out from the tube and then like slides back, I thought, that almost could have been funny. It almost could have been comedic, but it's not, because you're dealing with this like truly horrifying, evil, like being, and it, by that point in the movie.
Too bad not more was written about him.
About Pennywise.
About Pennywise.
It.
Maybe his story, or maybe its story.
I think there is more about that in the books. I think they even maybe hint at it a little bit in the second movie. I
gotta reread that book.
I know, that's what I'm thinking too, actually. I always have felt like I don't need to read the book. I've watched the movies. I know what happens. But it would be nice to just see what the differences are, but it's gigantic. It's a gigantic
It's so gigantic.
Book. And that's the thing. I think I'm going to have a hard time getting through, because it's like, I feel like I know what the fucking story is. You know what I mean? But here's another just quote from Bill Skarsgård. He said, in order for this movie to be as effective as the book and the series, I have to scare a whole generation. My take was that Pennywise functions very simply. Nothing much is going on in terms of what he's thinking. He's animalistic and instinctive.
Oh, interesting.
He also admitted that he was so into the performance that he would have constant nightmares during and after production.
Gosh. What else? Has he been other beings? God, he did so good.
Bill Skarsgård?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I really had a crush on his brother from True Blood.
Yeah, True Blood. The whole Skarsgård family is insanely talented. Because then you've got their dad. I think his name is... Shit, I don't remember right now. But he was in Chernobyl.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
A handful of other things. I feel like they're all actors. Like, they're all really good. Yes, and one of them plays Floki in Vikings. Like,
yes, okay. Oh wow. Is this their whole family? It's just like a shit ton of people.
I know, and they're like all fucking actors. Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
and they're all
that
good.
is. Oh my god, yeah, they have like a whole family tree online of the Scott. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, and then Stellan Skarsgård. I recognize him.
Stellan, yeah, that's the one that's in Chernobyl.
Yeah, look at that, and all of his kids. Cool.
In relation to what you're saying as far as his backstory, this doesn't tell you their backstory necessarily, but like you do get the sense that he's been there for a long fucking time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that I have here, costume designer Janie Bryant had based the costume design for Pennywise's suit on various eras throughout history that includes medieval, Renaissance, Elizabethan, and Victorian. The costume emphasizes Pennywise's immortality, which I thought was really interesting.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, it's like
I didn't recognize that, but
now that I say it though, aren't you like, oh yeah, I see it?
Yeah, now I want to look him up and take a look at him. I need to be more observant. This was just a beautiful, beautiful clown. Who came up with this design for this clown?
I don't know. That's a good question. And I did read that in the process of pre-production or production, Andy Muschietti had like shared one of the concept art things of it or from early on, but he didn't have the red like lines going up his face yet. So I bet we could look that up and see if we could find some pictures from concept art. But it is great. Also related to this, I thought this was interesting. Bill was the fourth actor offered the role of Pennywise. Tim Curry was offered the chance to reprise the role during early development, but turned it down. Why? I don't know. Ben Mendelsohn was also offered the role and was interested, but turned it down when he could not agree with the studio on his salary. Will Poulter was then offered the role and accepted. You know who that is? Eyebrows from like We Are the Millers.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah, Midsummer.
Oh, no. Okay.
No.
I mean, I like him, but okay.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it would have been as good. But scheduling conflicts forced him to drop out after production delays pushed filming back a year. So Skarsgård was given the role. However, he wasn't the fourth choice necessarily, as he did not audition until after Poulter left the project. So Skarsgård was actually the only actor that Andy offered the role to.
And I can't imagine anybody else doing.
I know he
as
really
good a job as him
does. And you know what else I think helps is I think he has kind of like an accent because they're from, I can't maybe Sweden or something.
Yeah, it looks like it from the way their name is spelled.
Yeah. And I think he just has there's something that's, again, a little off. Like it's not 100% in the cadence that you would say it if you were like a native English speaker or if that was like your first language, you know what I mean?
They're
I
Swedish.
think that helps. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, called it.
Yeah, he even has an interesting look about him.
Yeah, he's very tall.
Yeah, and his look. I don't know. I'm looking at him. I can't explain it.
I also read that the smile that he does was like he used to do that as a kid to like freak out his siblings. So it's like something that he's been doing his whole life, and he just brought that in for Pennywise.
Brilliant. My favorite clown. Yeah, I thought the clowns in that American Horror Story that had clowns, I thought they were scary looking clowns.
That's a good point.
But it's just something different with him, though, because those were obvious, like they weren't really clowns from what I remember. There's people in clown costumes. He was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
He just did such a great job. He is my number one favorite scary clown.
Me too. Blew it out of the water. So good.
Yes. Great job. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you,
Bill, for that performance.
I love him. He's really good in Castle Rock also, which is another Stephen King.
Which one is he in Castle Rock?
He's in the first season.
Oh, is he the one that's... Oh, you're right. I didn't say anything, so you guys know we didn't cut out sound or anything. I just didn't want to give it away. But you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Now it's all coming back to me.
It's flooding back. Yeah.
It's flooding back. Yeah, he was really good.
So from here, I just have a lot of little Easter eggs of things or cool little random trivia type thing.
Throw some down.
Okay. So while we're still loosely on the topic of Pennywise, when the Losers Club are at the 4th of July festival, a clown can be seen performing on a nearby stage. The clown's suit resembles serial killer John Wayne Gacy's clown suit. And there is a clown in the room with Richie that he gets locked in with all of the clowns. There's one dressed up to look like Tim Curry's Pennywise.
Oh, I didn't catch it.
They peppered this movie with references like that to the novel and to the, that one for Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Here's another one. When Ben is flipping through the old History of Derry book in the library, he briefly pauses on a picture of the 1908 Easter festivities In that picture, you can see a caravan cart that says Pennywise the Dancing Clown on it with the image of a clown face, but it's not like the evil Pennywise. We later see this cart when Beverly wakes up in the sewer, and the 1908 cart could be the inspiration of its form as Pennywise.
Okay, so I didn't catch it in the photograph, but did obviously see it in the thing because it was the giant
dancing.
So they're saying maybe Pennywise the clown was just a performer that came in through town during that time, and that's where the creature, it, got the inspiration to be Pennywise the Dancing Clown.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting because it makes you think about this alien creature or whatever that has come. So we'll just say the alien creature and what it is thinking too. So that comment, I might be taking this too far, but that comment that Bill mentioned where he is just animalistic and doesn't really do a lot of thinking, right? But then that shows a little bit of humanity, I think, where he saw this clown and this performer and connected to it, had some sort of inspiration, like it inspired him, whatever, that he took it on and was trying to, like, what am I trying to say?
Mimic.
Yeah, mimic it. Like when he was doing that dancing that was so awkward and creepy. It was like this piece where it makes me want to know more about him, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And like that experience and seeing those things happening during that time and him taking inspiration from it and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. There's definitely, you would think there's got to be story and lore there. It's probably just locked up in the book. And like they, I think they do a good job of putting in the Stephen King things into this movie and then taking out the stuff that we don't necessarily need. Like it's tight. It's a tight movie, like we get what we need and we just keep it moving. And I like that. Also outside of the butcher shop, there's a large mural on the side of it commemorating the shootout and murder of the Bradley gang in 1929. This is taken directly from the book and is mentioned by Mike in his recollection of the past violence that has happened in Derry. In the book, the townspeople of Derry ambush a gang of bank robbers coming to purchase ammo in their town and massacre them in a blaze of crossfire. And I'll add that when they're out there, I don't know if you noticed this, but they're treating, Eddie's trying to clean up his wounds. Pennywise is actually painted in the mural. He's not there at first, and then he's there. It's like his face is back behind him.
Oh, interesting.
I have this article that I will post in our Discord and I'll send to you that you can kind of see. They took screenshots to show you all of the times that he kind of shows up like in the background. Because another one of those is when Ben is in the library reading. I don't know if you picked up on this, but one of the women in the background turns and just stares at him as he's reading. And again, it's sort of implied that that's like Pennywise possessing, or it might be this old woman in the library, because it's creepy. She turns to watch him.
When he got up to go downstairs, that woman? Or no, he's sitting and reading and she's staring at him?
Before that.
Oh, and it's not the librarian.
No.
It's some other woman in there. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I need to be more observant.
I didn't notice that one the first time either. So don't feel bad. When he's in Georgie's room, Bill picks up a Lego turtle. This could be a reference to not only the turtle in It, but also the turtle Maturin, featured in Stephen King's The Dark Tower series. I don't know if I'm saying that name right. Have you read those books?
Mm-mm. I did not read Dark Tower series.
I think there's also a whole thing about a turtle in It. I'm pretty sure they get into that in the sequel, chapter 2.
They talked about turtles too when they were in the lake.
Yeah.
There was something in the water and they're like snapping turtles.
Yeah. I think those are all just little nods to that. And I think that's one of the things that they didn't end up putting in the original miniseries because it's too fucking bizarre. Like I've had people kind of explain to me what the idea is in the novel, and I'm not going to try to do it because I'm not going to do a great job. But it's like, I feel like they were able to incorporate that in a way that didn't feel fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I remember when I was reading it back in back in the day, you had people that loved it and hated it, like hated that he was an alien and did not like the ending at all.
Interesting. Speaking of the
ending. But I think it's kind of cool, though, that he's an alien because, again, it's this thing coming down and feeding off of the town and, taking on these different forms. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. What else is it going to be?
I love that kind of shit.
Just a monster?
Totally. That's what I like. I like that. What is it called? Lovecraftian horror. Like this. I enjoy that kind of stuff because there's this element of you can't even fathom what this thing is. Like there's you have no context for it. And so it's so fucking foreign. I just like that about it. And I think it makes it more scary. And yeah.
It makes it more scary that this possibility, I'm using that real loosely, but possibility that something could come down from another planet, just like The Quiet Place or whatever, because we don't know what other living things are out there in the vast universe. That's an understatement. But that it could come down and live here. That possibility, it's scary. It's more scary. The only other thing, it could have been like a ghost or something.
Yeah.
But
or
I feel like plain out monster, but
done to death.
Monster, And
monsters can be killed, because they're like kind of flesh and blood a little bit. Like, I like it. I think it's a perfect mix of like alien and like weird evil being and not understanding what it is. I think it's
or what it really wants. Just simply eat children. Like
it's a mystery, and that's what makes it scary. Is because you don't know. And one of the other elements of this that I think is really, really scary that has always been with me. I hadn't seen this movie when I was a kid, but I remember my friend telling me about it and telling me like the basic plot that like there's this creature that hibernates for 27 years and then comes out and eats children. And I remember being fucking terrified about that. Like, so it's, even though I didn't see the movie when I was young, that concept like wormed its way into my brain. And the idea of something like hibernating and then like re-emerging every so often is so fucking scary to me. It's like I love that part of it.
That is, I agree.
Yeah.
I've been saying that a lot in this episode. Probably people are like, can she fucking stop saying I agree? But I do. I love it too. What were you going to say about the ending?
Oh yeah, I was going to say let's get into that. Speaking of the ending and things that got cut, there is supposedly a kitty gangbang at the end of the book where Beverly and all the kids have like an orgy.
What?
You not remembering this?
I do not remember that at all.
Yeah.
All those kids?
Yeah.
Have sex is what you're saying with each other in an orgy.
Yep. Or like they all have sex with Bev, I think is the idea. And there's like, I think the intent was something about like crossing the threshold into adulthood kind of or something. I don't fucking know. I don't think anybody knows. And everybody is always like, yeah, that shit is weird. Keep it out of here. Like people are always like, please don't put it in any sort of adaptation. Like,
I wonder if that was when he was just doing a lot of coke and drinking a lot. And
that seems to make sense.
Because he's sober now. But because I don't remember that at all. I'm going to go get my book and I have to look it up. Like, I don't remember that. And doesn't that go against everything? Like the whole town is gossiping about her, that she's easy and she sleeps around. And now she has a big orgy and allows all these boys to have sex with her because they went through this thing together and now they all have to have sex. That is so weird.
I know. I agree. I think it's like super weird. And I didn't know anything about it until I learned about this at a happy hour where I was at with some of my old coworkers talking about horror movies, obviously. And they were like telling me all about it. And I just remember being shocked as shit. Like I was like, what are you guys talking about? Because my old manager who was there, Dan, he had like read, I think, the books. And so had his his friend, one of our other coworkers, and they were like telling me all about it. And I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Why? I just remember like my mind was blown, and they were so excited to tell me about this like super fucking weird thing at the end of this book. Like it was
okay.
I
am going to go to the end of the book and I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
Before August 1st, because that's when I do Misery. But I need to remember this.
You need to go back and read. I'm so
like, how was this introduced?
I know,
like,
I don't
when
know.
did this?
It happens, and I think it happens right after they kill it. Like they kill it,
and
then
they all look at each other and they're like, "Let's do this."
Yeah, like
all of these young, awkward boys and her, they were just all super turned on and ready to do it after all of that.
I don't know. I have no fucking idea. And I'm not defending it, but
what the hell?
I don't think it's that. I think it's supposed to be some sort of like metaphor for crossing into adulthood. I don't know.
Age.
That's what I've read. People have like theorized about it because I'm so curious, because I'm also like, how the fuck does this come in at the end of this like 750 page book that you're like, oh, and then all these little children take turns having sex. The end. Like, what? What are you talking about?
All right, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to take a screenshot of that particular section and post in our Discord.
Okay. Oh, it's for us all to read. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Because it's like, what the how is it actually written in there? I'm so curious.
Yeah. How they transition into this situation.
How does it happen? And then I want to know too, like, like the language around it. Is it like really fucking weird? Is it as weird as I'm thinking it is? Or is it all sort of like, I don't know how it could not be weird. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck?
Or is it more ambiguous and people are assuming that this is what's happening? Or
is it like alluded to more than, I don't know. I haven't read it.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll put it in the Discord.
Keep us up to date on that. Very weird. But what they do that I think works well, and I wasn't quite sure that I looked at it this way all the way, so I'm going to read you this little blurb. I thought this was good. The scene where Beverly gets sprayed by the blood, as portrayed in the novel, is symbolic of one of her subconscious fears of quickly maturing into a woman due to puberty. You also see this with her cutting her hair as soon as her dad like starts to make comments, like, and she's getting attention, like male attention, and she's like, I'm gonna cut this fucking hair off. Loved that part.
Even when she has her tampons and her dad, that's grossly kind of excites him when he sees her with a tampon. So that whole thing of becoming a woman.
Yeah.
And so then with this orgy, back to the orgy for 1.5 seconds, would this mean then now she does accept becoming a woman?
Well, I don't know. Okay. Maybe that was the intent there.
Go back to the.
But okay, I'm sorry. Get back to this. Okay, so it's her fears of maturing into a woman due to puberty, especially considering that the bathroom is her safe haven from her father. The male losers helping her clean up the blood is symbolic of them restoring her safe haven and accepting her as a maturing young woman, as they themselves are maturing into young men within the threshold of puberty. So I thought that was good. I had never thought of, I mean, obviously, I feel like the blood is pretty, like, you get what's happening there. But, like, the fact that they come and help her clean it up and having that be then a sacred sort of bond in a way. Like, and now she has what feels like a much more healthy relationship with these guys. She has these male friends. And obviously, they are watching her sunbathe, and two of them definitely at least have crushes on her and stuff, but they're friends, so anyway, I thought that was interesting.
No, I really like that. I did say when they were helping her, I'm like, wow, she couldn't have found better friends.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be a nightmare to clean up, and they all just were like, yeah, let's do it. But that symbolically, it's really beautiful. I like that.
Yeah. I thought that was good. I feel like that is sort of almost like maybe where Stephen King was going with the orgy at the end. But this is a much better way to showcase that. Again, I don't know. I'm just going off of what I've read. Other people like pick it apart to mean, or the intent being. I'm not defending it. That's all.
You have mentioned you like coming of age movies. I do too. I like them. I love coming of age movies. And I think that you might really like Stand By Me. I know you haven't seen it. I think you would really like that.
People talk about this movie and Stand By Me in tandem all the time because it seems like they share the same vibe.
Yeah. I think you would really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shares the same vibe of, these kids, the bond, the struggles with home and them finding themselves. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. I will watch that at some point. It's been on my list for a very long time. It's just that I've never set aside time to watch it, but I will.
Okay.
That's most of what I got. Trivia.
That's what you got? That was good stuff. Good talking points. So are those kids dead? Or like, why didn't he eat them?
Oh, the floating kids?
Yeah, if the kids are floating, why aren't they just eaten? Or is it like when spiders wrap up bugs in webs and then suck their blood out? So you're going to have the carcass there, kind of like The Mist too. Remember there was the people in the web. These kids aren't in webs. They're floating like balloons. But maybe that's it. Maybe he doesn't actually eat them. Like when he ate the little boy's arm, he's feeding on something different.
Well, yeah, because it is fear.
Yeah, he's feeding on their fear. Okay. I just think I got it confused though, because he did bite off his arm he was like, did he actually eat them? I think maybe that's where I got confused, that he's feasting on their flesh, but no, he's feasting on something different.
That would make sense. Yeah. So then they're like, it's exactly what you're saying. Maybe like a spider kind of wrapping its prey up, and he might be able to even keep them somewhat alive in order to feed off of their fear. But I think once you see the deadlights, like, I think you're fucking done for. Like, I'm not 100% sure, but from what I've read, the deadlights are like a fucking death sentence. So the fact that's why I'm like, it seems like Beverly coming back to life is an exception to the situation. And those floating kids might just be like husks of.
Ooh, husks. That's a good word.
Yeah.
You're all full of good words tonight. Yeah, maybe because with Beverly, he only had, because all those kids were coming, a moment to kind of take only a little bit of her or make her, go blank and then float, and then he had to bail.
Yeah. Or maybe it takes time for them to be fully, I don't know, captivated by that. I'm not sure. The deadlights, I think, are a thing that show up in other Stephen King novels too, but I don't know much more about them.
I'm just realizing I love Stephen King so much, and there's a lot I don't know and that I need to just study. I need to get an MA in Stephen King so I could be like the Stephen King expert.
I am curious. I was thinking today, I really need to read some. I just don't even know where to fucking start. There's so many books and I don't know what I'm going to like and what I'm going to not like. And I am interested in the crossover stuff. I like the idea that there's this whole, universe and some stories share elements or things or beings or whatever. So I almost want to start there, but I just don't know. I need somebody to tell me what to start with. You know what I mean?
Well, I can tell you you already know, but my two favorite that were the easiest reads were The Dark Half and Misery.
Okay.
For sure. I read them so fast. I remember The Dark Half specifically. I was so tired and I couldn't put it down. And I stayed up all night reading that book. So that's my favorite. So those two were my favorites. And yeah, I would say those two are my favorites. I'm really enjoying Mr. Mercedes right now, but I'm not done, so I don't know. Outsider was good too. But anyways, yeah, those are the two that pop in the first as my very, very favorites. But
okay, someday I'll do it. Someday I'll read one.
All right, yeah. So we're gonna rate him.
Yeah, you ready? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I'm giving it a straight 5. Can't not.
Oh, okay.
Can't not. It's a fucking perfect movie, really. Honestly, I don't have anything bad to say about it. The only bad thing that I have to say about it is that I do think the kid who plays Stanley is not as good as the rest of the kids. The rest of the kids are like fantastic, right? Like all of them
He's the
really
one that
good
gets
actors.
bit
Yeah.
on his face, right? Yeah.
And it just sucks for him that all of these other kids are like insanely good actors, because it sort of highlights the fact that he's not a great actor. But there's like so many kids, not all of them can be fucking, you know what I mean? Like he did a good job. But when I watch him sort of give his intense performances, like I'm not buying them. But that is the worst thing that I have to say about this movie. And so that's fucking it. And so I got to give it a 5 because I love it and it's so fun.
Okay, so I swear to God, I also was going to give it a 5, but I wanted to hear what you had to say because I wasn't sure. And I was like, I wanted to hear kind of like your explanation of, I didn't know you were going to give it a 5 to make sure that I felt solid. Okay. So as soon as you went, I'm going to give it a 5, I was like, okay. Because at first I felt nuts. Like I felt like, is this a 5 for me? And when I started to look at all of these scores, I was like, oh yeah, I liked it more than that. And so when then I saw 4.9 for Sinister, that was one where I stopped for a second and went, I wonder, do I like it equal to Sinister or more? And then I had saw some of my other scores. So anyways, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, I saw Possessor 4.85 and I went, holy shit, I think that this one's a 5 by looking at all of these scores.
Yeah.
And it's just a different experience than some of the other 5s I've given. But thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought it was beautifully done. Loved those kids. I just had a really great time watching this movie.
Yeah, it's so fun. That's what I was saying. Like, it's a fun watch. And it's masterfully adapted from the novel. It seems like. Obviously, I haven't read it, but it feels so true to form and it's got a great feel. Anyway, I just love it. It's a great movie. I'm so glad we finally got to watch it.
2 5s in a row.
Yes. Wow, we're on a roll.
We are on a roll. I think my favorite scoring ever was Parasite. We were like, fuck it.
Was fast.
5. Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's go with our gut. Right now it's a 5. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. There we go. It's my final agree for the evening. I agree for the evening.
The last
I agree
one.
with your score. Oh.
All right. So next week we're off. And then the next week we're off. So we're going to take 2 weeks off for summer break. We got some trips planned. So
made it all exciting. 2 Chicks and a Horror Flick summer break. Yeah. We have like some posts and stuff, but it's like really just, we are going to be gone.
Right. Yeah.
But we do have some content lined up, some fun stuff, just like flashbacks to other episodes, some audio clips, some different stuff that we've got going on. Actually, we have someone else on our little 2 Chicks and a Horror Flick team, and her name is Haley.
Yes.
And so Haley, she does some of our social media stuff. She's awesome. I know her from one of my past jobs, and she wanted to get into social media and was like, I would love to help you out on some of your guys' stuff, which has been so fun. So you'll notice that we have more like polls and really creative stuff that she brought to the table. And I love it. She's so awesome. She's super engaged. So the reason I'm saying all of this is because you should know her, Haley. Haley's a part of it, and she will be the one that's really helping out a lot during our little summer break. So
yes.
We're super excited and happy to have her.
Thank you, Haley. It's very helpful.
Yeah, it is very helpful. We love it. So we're still very involved and we chat with everybody and everything like that. But she is so creative with some of the stuff she puts out there in her stories and stuff like that. So we love Haley. And then our next episode is Misery. It's Misery, and we are doing that with Tawny's friend Paige, who is she is the director of the you say Paige is. She's great. she's great.
She's the creative director of the Idaho Horror Film Festival, and one of my best friends, and she loves horror movies, loves Stephen King, has read a ton of Stephen King books, loves Misery, and this was her pick. She wanted to come in and talk about it, and she is part of her own podcast called
Yes.
Film versus Movie. So go check them out. They're super great. And they don't do only horror. They do like, you know, the gamut of movies. Their basic premise too, like I've never like given a little thing. She'll give a little thing when she comes on too, but it's just that they debate whether whatever movie they're talking about is considered a film or a movie. And that definition changes, I think, for each of them. So they each have like different parameters kind of for it. So yeah.
Oh, interesting. I love it. Yeah. And I'm very excited about that. Like I just mentioned a million times, it's one of my favorite Stephen King books. So I'm going to read the book. I'm going to start it. I'm going to read it. So I'll be able to bring that element to it. So I'm very, very excited.
Me too.
So we tried to bring you some 2 juicy, yummy, heavy-hitting Stephen King movies since we were just doing 2 episodes this month too.
Right. Yeah. We tried to hit it big on those 2. So
awesome. Okay. You can find us on Instagram, and from Instagram, it links out to all the rest of the world. And that is at 2 Chicks in a Horror Flick. All the social media outlets. Again, you can get to all of those places through Instagram. On Twitter, we are 2 Chicks HF. So make sure you adjust that there. And Tawny, what else?
you can support the show on Patreon or by giving us a rating and review on whatever podcatcher you're listening to us on. We're on all podcatchers. And I wanted to say something else there, but now I blanked on the word.
That's where we're at. All of them.
All of them. Wherever you want to listen, we're there probably.
Yeah. When I get an email that says, hey, we have a new thing to put your podcast on, but ow.
She does
I get
it.
in there and I do it.
Yes. Felicia's on top of that. Join our Discord server.
Discord.
Keep the conversation going with us over there. But that is it. I don't know. It just went so fast.
I'm pretty sure it did go really fast, but I'm pretty sure you said it all.
Okay. Anyway, we're so excited to talk to you guys at the end of the month. Well, and throughout the month.
And we'll start drinking again so that we're more coherent.
God, what is happening here? Anyway, we hope you guys have such a good night. No nightmares.